Hello and good evening. Welcome, my friends, to the oh so illustrious Rantcast. I'm here with myself. I am Josh, also known as the Strange Bus. I am joined by my fellow host Kurgan, aka HeroQuest fans. You can find him at twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. That's twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. I won't forget to plug myself in, of course. That's the Strange Bus, but you know, we're gonna be here talking about HeroQuest with the HeroQuest Power Hour. So, um, Kurgan, you got anything to say before we start?
Yes.
There we go. There it
Besides
is.
that,
There it is.
I love how these last couple streams we've just been putting there's a castle that's just being absolutely besieged, and it's like that's the company that we're tearing into today.
Yeah.
I mean, is this really what the fans are doing? Like we're just attacking all these brilliant artists. We just don't appreciate what they have to offer anymore, or
See,
did they bring it on themselves?
I have to credit, right? I'll start with it a little bit here. The place I get this from is called Wallpaper Abyss, and they have some great medieval
Heard
wallpapers, as
that.
well as some other really good abstract wallpapers. I've been using them for over 10, 12 years, and they're really, really good. Community-based artists who submit stuff. Some of them can be a little cut and copy paste, but there's some really good stuff here. This is technically a Total War based wallpaper,
Yeah, yeah.
but as you can
Okay.
see, the fortress is still standing strong, but the barrier is weakening. So within the seconds we had to prep today, because my new job is very demanding, and I was very late starting this, so my fault. But I looked at this and said, that fortress could be Hasbro with all of its sectional buildings being, Avalon Hill and
Yeah.
everything else, and we're
That's
not
Wizards of the
technically,
Coast over on the
yeah,
right there,
yeah,
just
we're
getting
not
just
raising it,
blown.
we're not raising it down, but we are letting people know that we are here and we aren't going anywhere.
It's like
So,
term, negotiate.
so I think that that's a good thing, and you can see the individual factions and stuff on the game board and stuff like that. So everybody's different, right? There are people who are
There's
attacking, there are people who are sieging, and there's people who are just standing, ready,
yeah,
ready to rant. They're ready to go. Like Luke Rock said, we are. There's some people who just aren't attacking yet, and they're waiting to see what the next move is for
yeah.
Hasbro Avalon Hill. Um, so we're waiting for that Rise of the Dread Moon and
Oh
that
yeah.
HeroQuest Power Hour to start coming
Oh
in.
yeah.
So,
Well, and if,
Kurgan,
if you look at this, if you look at this big picture, I would say like people talk about toxic fans. Well, the toxic fans would just be like a couple little guys skirmishing in like one little corner. The rest, you got to see the big picture. It's not just those little guys. There's a lot more people that are noticing some of these things, and yeah, ready if things go south.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
like,
HeroQuest is looking good in my opinion. And I'm still contemplating, planning, possible. It may be that I will go to Gen Con. I haven't worked out all the details yet.
oh,
It's kind of a big deal because it's a long trip and everything. But before all that, and did you already shout out Karl Casey, White Hat Audio?
we're about to here. So yeah,
Oh
before
yeah,
we get started here,
not a
music is
sponsored
by
video, but we really appreciate. Yeah,
yeah, music by Karl Casey at Whitebat Audio. You visit www.whitebataudio.com for more. He has a whole bunch of cool stuff, such as the music you hear, that's aggressive dark synthwave mix, such as
Make-
dystopian dark synthwave. You've got a whole bunch of cyberpunk dark synth, 80s synthwave, cyberpunk, nostalgic, all sorts of different types of various music. You visit in there, and that's www.whitebataudio.com, or you can visit him on YouTube, and that's Karl Casey at Whitebat Audio.
yeah. There's a lot of people that do like what he does, providing content for people to use, but he just makes it very easy. Some people, it's like pulling teeth, trying to like, how do I use your stuff, without running afoul of algorithms or, whatever. So yeah, it's cool. So HeroQuest. So everybody's been talking about this. All the quote unquote influencers on YouTube have been talking about this. And I was just kind of poking fun the fact that a lot of people are like, I'm not going to stream for two pictures. I'm not going to make a new video just for two pictures. But they give us two pictures and they give us two more pictures and so on and so on. So we've learned some more details, and I've been thinking more about this Rise of the Dread Moon expansion. I mean, they're really putting a lot of emphasis on this because it is the first retail original pack that isn't just two figures in a box with some cards. It's actually a full adventure. Now, there's still a lot we don't know about this, but they have made it very clear that it's going to have scalable difficulty. I mean, they haven't used the term scalable difficulty, but that's pretty much what they're saying. They're saying it's going to be for brand new players who just jumped in and for people who have been playing like quest after quest. Because this happens in the game. You'll build up a lot of gold, you build up a lot of potions, and you're basically like unstoppable, or you think you are. So they keep throwing new quests at you with new challenges to try to make it interesting without. I mean, you could say that when they came out with the Frozen Horror originally back in the 90s, it was overkill. It was like too hard. And so they kind of botched what they were trying to do in 92, which was to say we're catering to both brand new players who've never played HeroQuest before, who want to like play with the big boys, and then the people who have already got their maxed out characters. And this game is so easy. It's like, no, let's give you a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually do that. I can imagine a lot of things that they will do. We don't know 100%, but I think they are listening to like fan feedback, and they are looking at like what mod makers have made to try to like take the best of and then do their own ideas because they've designed other games before. So one thing I can imagine is, you're playing a quest and it's like, okay, if like this is your first quest, then X, like in the notes. And if you've played a few quests already, then Y. So they could adjust the difficulty that way. The other thing is, we know that there's going to be the knight is going to be in there, the guardian knight. So that's no big surprise. But we do know that his 3 skills are going to be the same as the exclusive, the GameStop exclusive. Well, it wasn't just GameStop, but I mean, it was primarily GameStop, so most people didn't get that. So I think they did that on purpose to try to ensure that all the people who wanted the original character are going to get it, plus in the midst of this big pack, an adventure. Now the question is it all going to be focused on the knight, or is he just going to be an ancillary character? We don't know. But we do know that they haven't named it yet, but they're going to have a potions deck of some kind. And so that's a first, because in the past it was like, well, if they add new potions, they're going to be equipment that you buy between quests, or they're going to be added to the treasure deck. But they're going to have an actual potions deck. So the question is, how does that come into play? Well, chances are you're still going to be shopping between quests, but they've adjusted the prices. So you don't have to. So the way the Frozen Horror did this is they only gave you 4 potions to buy. 3 of them could only be used by the barbarian, and 1 could be used by everybody else. So they basically said, well, yeah, we want you to buy the other hero packs, and then you can have potions that everyone can use. So what they're doing with this Rise of the Dread Moon instead is saying, here's all these potions that anyone can use, and the prices are adjusted. Now I thought, well, the hero exclusive ones are going to be like cheaper, and then it'll be more expensive, like if you want everybody to be able to use them. But apparently they're not following that. And we don't yet know like which ones will be unique, like if they'll add completely new ones. But there won't be this attitude like you have to buy all the hero packs. Because I think back in the day, I mean, it wasn't Avalon Hill, it was Milton Bradley under the Hasbro umbrella. What they were doing is they were moving towards like the HeroScape model, where it was like you buy the base set and then you buy all these booster packs. And it's like, oh, if you want the benefits of this thing, you got to buy this other pack, and so on and so forth. And so they were hoping that, okay, you'd buy the barbarian pack, the dwarf pack, the wizard pack, the elf pack, and then you put them all together, and then you'd have like the most perks for like all these characters. But it looks like with the Rise of the Dread Moon is they're just bypassing all that, and they're just putting all that stuff in one. So it's not necessarily focused on the knight as maybe we were thinking. So there's still a lot that is not revealed yet. But just the idea that we have like this variety of magic potions that you can buy that anyone can use, the scalable difficulty, the fact that the Guardian Knight is in there like as is, he's not uh, tampered with. And then this picture that you're seeing here, this is really sweet because people were talking about like, well, what should a knight look like? And this right here is actually a Warhammer. Um, can you scroll up for a second? Is that Old Hammer or is that Age of Sigmar? Like the newer one? Oh, it's a Britannian, the Old World. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that, but there's definitely a lot of Warhammer fans in the HeroQuest community who know all this stuff, and they will compare it. It's like, okay, well, what have we had before from Games Workshop, and then what is Avalon Hill doing? Because they can't copy it directly, but they can definitely draw inspiration. So these new photos, you can see here, we have Rise of the Dread Moon, and we've got the lighting is a little better in these photos than previously. So you can see these are the cadre of the Raven's Veil figures, and they're actually kind of like a pinkish purple color, which is a new color that we haven't seen before. So they're not red like heroes. They're not blue like the Mage of the Mirror characters, even though this is like taking place after the Mage of the Mirror in kind of like that Elven Kingdom. So these cadre of the Raven's Veil are allies of the heroes. We don't quite know at this point if they're mercenaries that you have to buy or if they're just like NPCs that show up, or do you play individual quests as them? We don't know. But we do see that there's a halberdier. There's the scout. He's the one that's crouched with the sword, and he's got a shield on his back. So that one's pretty obvious. Then we've got the one who has a pistol crossbow in hand and a dagger in the other. So people were speculating, what does that mean? We don't know that yet. Like, do they have different stats than a crossbowman? But these are supposed to be representing like a secret society that works behind the scenes to protect the interests of the Elven Kingdom, but they aren't necessarily reporting to like the Queen or anything. They kind of do their own thing. Now we finally get a closer view of these specters, these transparent figures, which represent like ghostly monsters. And there's a lot of early speculation. It's like, okay, well, if they're ghosts, can you like only hurt them with magic? But from what we understand so far is that they really are only ghostly when they're like passing through walls or passing through heroes, but then they become solid again so that they can fight you or you can fight them. And they kind of look like these ghost brides. It kind of there's a little bit of a vibe of like Bride of Frankenstein going on there. You can see the artwork on the card is very stylized, kind of like a vampire, ghost, banshee kind of thing. And they do have magic. Now we see some of those cards. Now, unfortunately, these cards that they're showing us are not that new. I mean, we're getting a better view than we've ever had, but you can see clearly that the knight's 3 skills have not changed, even though the artwork's different. So we've got Stalwart, where he can come back. Rather than dying, he comes back with 1 body point. He's got the shield block, so he can basically just instantly absorb like a nearby hit that would have hit one of his companions. He just wipes it out as long as he's got his shield, but it's a single use. And then he's got the Knight's Challenge, which you don't see here, which is like the wandering monster comes to attack somebody, he can say, attack me instead. So maybe if he's a stronger character, you can protect the wizard or whoever is searching. Now, you see the Potion of Restoration there. They gave it just a little bit of more flavor text explaining, what it smells like or what it looks like. And then it's priced at 300 gold, which I believe is the same price as you paid before. Get a body point, get a mind point. The Channel Dread is the dread spell, the chaos spell, as we would have called it in the old game, that the Spectre has. Now, they show 3 Spectre figures. We don't know if there's only 3 in the box. A lot of people are speculating that there are only 3 because in the box art you see 3. But again, that's speculation. Now, with these monsters, when they get together, they boost each other. So when they do a spell, the Channel Dread, that does direct damage. So it doesn't matter how much armor the hero has. So that's a big deal. But if there's like 2 specters, it has an increased chance of hitting them. 3 specters, even more of a chance of hitting them. So we're kind of thinking, yeah, 3 is probably the limit before it would get kind of unwieldy as far as like, oh, they're just guaranteed to hit you every time. They're not super powerful, but they can basically find you wherever you are, because they can pass through walls, and they can hit you with that no matter how much armor you have. Now, we still don't know, like, are there other ways to beat them? I mean, because they're considered undead, so we think, okay, so that means the Spirit Blade can damage them more. That's an artifact. And Holy Water may be able to wipe them out. We don't know for sure, but possibly. So there's other considerations. And then, of course, we don't know how they appear in the quest. And we still don't know with the knight. Like, is the knight going to be just a character that shows up, or is it just, well, he can be one of the 4 that you choose? And then how do these Ravensvale come in? So, but they're all interesting components, and we do get a better view of the art. But they did say specifically, these are just some of the miniatures in the box. So I'm assuming that doesn't just mean that you open up the box and it's just piles and piles of these same figures. Like, there's other figures that we haven't seen yet. And they really don't have that much time, because July 15th is the release date. And if it's anything like the past releases, it's probably going to be like, a month in advance, and then people are all of a sudden going to have it. Because there's all these pre-order sites, but they're all like from other countries. The US has not gotten any pre-orders yet, which is fine. I mean, sometimes one country gets them and it's like, great, go Australia or go Brazil, whoever happened to get it. Because, HeroQuest is a global product. I mean, back in the day, all these different countries had it. Of course, back then, each country kind of had a different variation of the rules, whereas now they're trying to streamline it so everybody gets the same stuff.
Oh, real
But
quick question for you: how
yeah,
challenging do you think these specters are going to be during a quest?
um, I don't think they're going to be that challenging, but where a lot of people were kind of curious is, it seems like this is definitely a character that Zargon could use to really grief the heroes with. Because think about it, like, if he can activate a Spectre, you could be on the other side of the board and he could just like make his way there, like just passing through everything to get to you. And he could like zap you with a spell and then duck into a wall and just like hide inside a wall, and you couldn't get him. So he could do a lot of like hit and run stuff like that. Now, then I was thinking, well, but a lot depends on the layout of the quest. So they might do it such that it's not conducive to that sort of behavior, because you got to see the monster first. It's like in HeroQuest, the monsters don't exist until you spot them, except in very rare occasions where it'll say like Zargon can activate this room. I mean, it's very quest specific. So some people were speculating early on, oh, these will be OP, this is going to suck, this is not going to be fun. This is going to piss people off, just like the Frozen Horror would have pissed people off in 92 if anybody bought it, because you had the Polar Warbears with their devastating dual attacks, you had the Yeti who could just grab you, and you couldn't get out of it, and then you had the Ice Gremlin stealing your gear. It was like all this stuff prone to like really frustrate players who previously had been doing really well. So the question is, how are they going to balance that with like brand new players? Because they can't tell Zargon, yeah, you need to pull your punches, you need to let the beginner like let it slide a little bit. It's like, no, you're going to use his abilities to the utmost to try to make it a challenge. So
Well,
I don't know. It remains to be seen, I
that
guess.
was going to lead to my next question. Like, with,
Yeah.
because you were talking about scaling, if you were to make like a custom quest or something with these sort of characters, let's say, would these characters be used or abused? Sort of,
They might
would
be.
you say?
They might be. Well, yeah, because the thing is, like, since HeroQuest is so open-ended, as a kid you could do anything. So you could just say, yeah, this HeroQuest, he's got like 15 body points and he's got a gun. He's, and he can just kill you in one hit. It's like,
And
okay, well, that quest sucked. I'm never gonna let you. I'm never gonna
beware
play
of the
when
kill
you're
shot.
GM again.
He
Yeah,
turns it sideways, does double damage.
yeah. But now, if you're not tweaking it that way, I mean, you could still make a very difficult quest just by putting lots of monsters. It's like, okay, this quest is going to take a long time because you have to fight lots of monsters. Or you could, just put, okay, you got to go from room A to room B, and room B is way on the other side of the board. It's going to take you like ages to get there. I mean, there's ways that, and so I've often wondered, wouldn't it be cool if they made like a little tutorial, like, tips on designing your first quest or something like that. Because back in the day, they had the adventure design kit. And yeah, only kids in Europe got it, but it was like a little booklet and it said, okay, here's some tips on how to make a quest. And here's like some scenarios, some sample scenarios. And it would give you like, it'd say, well, don't put lots of dead ends. And like having lots of monsters is challenging, but just keep in mind that quest is going to take a long time. Sometimes less is more, different things like that. And it's like, okay, well, what would the quest be? Well, here's an idea. Rescue this guy, find this specific treasure, or maybe have a recurring villain, different things like that. And it was like, that's really cool. But yeah, if you give no direction at all, yeah, you're going to have some misfires. So if they make this, well, of course they're going to make it. But the question is, like, will this be something where it's just so delicately balanced that anybody that tries to make their own quest with it, it's always just going to go wrong? I mean, I don't think so, but on the other hand, a lot of people are saying, well, we don't want it to be like they just give us these assets to use and the quests are just like unbalanced and not fun, and then just expect the players to fix it and make their own quests that are actually good. It's like, well, they have enough time to play test. They have enough manpower, it seems now, that they can take their time and kind of refine it and make it good. Because a lot of people that buy HeroQuest are not in it to like spend hours and hours planning stuff out. They just want to take it out of the box, fire up the app or whatever and just play it with their 8-year-olds and just have fun and not have to like think, this is probably unbalanced. I'm probably going to have to tweak it or, change it up and whatever. I mean, I think a lot of GMs kind of do that anyway, know your audience. Like, are these guys that are just like, no, I really want you to hit me, like, hit me hard, like, okay. Or is it a little kid that's like, still building their self-esteem and still learning how to lose gracefully in a game, and so you're kind of like, just give them maybe a couple kid glove moments, before you really wreck them. So I don't know. I hope that they weigh carefully what they're going to do with it, because yeah, if those early reviews are this sucks, I mean, it's a harder sell.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's different than a video game, because of the video game, it's like, okay, I'm going to wait for the patch, or I'm going to wait for some mod maker to like spend hundreds of hours like fixing the game for free. No, it's a board game. You're like, okay, if it's a pretty good game, and I know a couple of easy ways to like tweak it, like, oh, just take one of the monsters out so there aren't like so many, or give them one extra healing potion, and that makes it a little easier. Like,
So,
okay, I can see that.
so Kurgan, you mean like Tyler Durden? You give them the spiel. I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
As hard as you can. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I my soundboard broke. Never mind. I wanted to pull it. I was like, the bit is ruined.
I am Jack's inability to use a soundboard. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It is kind of interesting that they're keeping so much uh, under wraps. Like, does that mean that it's done and they're just like teasing it out to try to build the hype, or are they still like working on it? I mean, I would think at this stage they've got all the miniatures done, they've got all the cardboard done, they've written all the quests, and if anything has changed, it's just very, very small things. Because sometimes Avalon Hill does that, like with their HeroQuest stuff, they'll say this is a playtest. Like, they'll just put it out there. They'll put some card images and say, tell us what you think. Which is cool, but it's also risky, because it's like, well, what if people just totally trash your idea? And it's like, you were going to do it anyway, and you just thought you were being nice, like by sharing it. And they're like, oh, that's wrong. It's totally wrong. But in the past, they have shown that, like, they'll put out a design and someone will make fun of, like, a lot of people make fun of it, so they'll like tweak it and make it a little bit better and get feedback that way. So they have done that in the past. They've shown their willingness to do that. But at the same time, as an artist, like, you have to take a stand somewhere, because there's always going to be critics. There's always going to be somebody who's going to find fault, and you have to just say at a certain point, yeah, but I'm still going to do this. I still think it's reasonable that this is going to sell, and this is my vision, and so forth. But yeah, if you put something out and everyone hates it, I think a lot of companies are humble enough to be like, okay, fine. Maybe it needs some work. I'll tweak it a little bit. Now there is one other thing. We know that there's going to be a Rise of the Dread Moon prequel quest. So similar
Oh,
to how they did Into the Northlands for Frozen Horror and how they did these other free quests that they released. I think free quests are a good thing. There's a lot of people that say, oh, they shouldn't do these. They should just put it in the box. The fact they released the free quest it's like added value. It's like, well, I was going to buy it, but I want to try it out first. Okay, you can play a quest for free. Or the fact that it's just like, maybe you want to buy a game, like a computer game, but you see there's like tons of like cool mods already for it for free. And it's like, oh, I'm getting that when I buy it, so I might as well buy it. So it sells itself. But this prequel quest, we don't know anything about it, really. Except
so
that we do know that Gen Con, all the Avalon Hill sessions of Gen Con say Rise of the Dread Moon prequel quest.
is it a
So
prequel
assuming
to Rise of the Dread Moon, or is it a prequel to something else in the storyline? Because you're saying Rise of the Dread Moon prequel quest, so is it just a prequel to the expansion itself?
yes, I believe
Okay.
so. Well, that's how I interpret it, I guess. Yeah. You're looking for it's like they gave the description was very generic. It's like, "Oh, you're trying to find out what the schemes are in the Elven Kingdom or something." And it's just like, "Okay, well, it doesn't tell you much." But I assume it would be well, so with Into the Northlands for the Frozen Horror, they showed you like okay, they show you some of the icy tiles and they have like a boss character who is one of the monsters, like one of the new monsters. So a way to introduce it. Or it's like you see one of the monsters but he gets away and you don't get to fight him, but it's like but he's there. And they had this like animal companion, so that was a new feature. So they did some things to kind of like not spoil all the surprises, but also kind of show you, hey, this is what you might encounter in the quest. And it also gave you a chance to get gold and potions and things so that when let's say you play it in order, like your character starts with something rather than nothing, which is originally how it was. So I imagine they can introduce some of the new mechanics if they want to, and it could be a way to show it off because Gen Con is August 3rd through the 6th, whereas this is coming out July 15th. So people are already going to have it. For all we know, there's people that are going to stream it and play it and like have beaten it by the time it goes to Gen Con. So if they hold on to this prequel quest until after Gen Con, like to release it to the public, they can show off something brand new that no one's seen and still generate that interest. And it also gives them a way to tweak some stuff after the fact, kind of like the day one patch idea. So they can take any feedback that people have and throw it into that first one. Like, oh, I didn't have enough gold when I started. Oh, look at that. You found like a whole bunch of gold in this first quest, or something like that. Some extra potions, or maybe some more time, I don't know, to practice with the mercenaries or whatever. It could be anything. The problem is it's hard to speculate on something like this because it's not directly based on any legacy product like the other ones were. Like we knew what Mage of the Mirror was going to be before it came out. The only thing we didn't know was what are they going to change. Whereas with this, it's like, is it a best of, or is it totally new? Well, it looks like it's both. I mean, the Guardian Knight's in there, but the rest of the stuff has no analog. It's new stuff. So I've been going for a while. What do you think? What are you thinking about
I
this
like
sort
I
of
said,
thing?
I've just been taking it in. So I guess for
Hmm.
for a newbie like me, right? Because I'm not as like I said, I'm not as caught up on a lot of HeroQuest stuff.
Yeah.
Rise of the Dread Moon. What is the story behind it? Like, what is the? Do we have an overview of the story behind the
See,
expansion?
again, it's very sketchy. A lot of it is speculation. So the image on the cover shows a ghostly, quasi magical looking figure that looks like Sinestra, the boss villain of Mage of the Mirror. They haven't said really. They haven't really explained that. So they've just kind of left it up to everybody to assume that what that means is the bad guy you killed in the last game is back, which is not that unusual because the Witch Lord, like they have Return of the Witch Lord, like you thought you killed him and he's back. Somehow Palpatine returned. It's like, oh great, whatever. So, but then in this case, okay, so she comes back as a ghost. Is that something bad guys can just do in this universe? Because they have said, well, we want to expand the HeroQuest lore. Because prior to this, it was like you could just assume that, well, maybe it was like Warhammer because it was based in the designs that Warhammer had. So people were always looking in the Warhammer world for ways to fill in the lore. Whereas now they're just kind of forging ahead, doing their own thing. So did Sinestra come back on her own power, or did somebody like resurrect her? So does she have like followers that are doing this? Is there some greater evil character that was like her boss that did it? Or is she just? I mean, presumably she's an important character and not just a side thing. But we know one thing we know for sure is it does take place in or around the Elven Kingdom, which was the focus of Mage of the Mirror. So I guess it picks up where that one left off and is like maybe the aftermath of that. Because there's supposed to be like a civil war that's happening within the Elven Kingdom. Like the Queen, Torellia, and her sister Sinestra are at war. So Sinestra is the chaotic sister, whatever, who I guess is tempted by Zargon, and so they're fighting. But the box shows it looks like different elven factions like fighting, but it's a little bit hard to tell if like some of the elves behind the heroes are like on their side, like coming to help them, or if they're surrounded on all sides by elves. So like, are they in the enemy territory just like fighting their way through, or are they like leading the good elves against the bad elves?
But
So
what we do know is that there is a civil war going on. Something's going on over there.
Yeah, there's a civil war, and it didn't end just because you killed the bad guy in the last one. So it continues on. And when I first heard that, I thought, that doesn't sound very good because they're just revisiting territory we've already seen. Let's move on to something new. Like, what about the dwarves? What about? I know they could make up anything they wanted, but they're going to revisit this. At the same time, though, I'm remembering the fact that Prophecy of Telor is coming out, and Prophecy of Telor was one of these mythic exclusive stretch goals. And that one, Stephen Baker revisited the Talisman of Lore from the original game system and Mellar's Maze and all that stuff. And even though he was revisiting familiar territory and like an artifact that you'd already found, he made it a completely original adventure. So just because it's using familiar like terminology or familiar like locations doesn't mean it's going to be a retread. So I'm kind of like keeping an open mind as far as that goes. But yeah, it doesn't really tell you much other than it's the Elven Civil War. Sinestra's somehow still there, and then we've got the Knight is in the middle of it because the Guardian Knights were introduced in that hero pack, but their story really wasn't told other than to say, hey, there's these knights out there that are trying to help the heroes. Okay, so presumably there's a storyline where this knight gets introduced, how he's helping the other four. And then we've got Sir Ragnar, who in the classic lore, so in the North American version, you rescue him, he's back. He was one of the Emperor's knights who was kidnapped, and everything's fine. In the European version, after you get him back, and then the Witch Lord comes back and you defeat the Witch Lord again, it says, oh, by the way, he helped one of the lieutenants of the Witch Lord escape, and so he was executed for treason. Like, what? And they just kind of spring that on you, like at the end. And it,
Okay.
yeah, and I didn't find out about this until like the 2000s, and so I'm like, this childhood memories. Oh, good old Sir Ragnar. He was executed for treason. What? What? He died on the way back to his home planet. Huh? This doesn't make any sense. So they've talked about, okay, Sir Ragnar, he's coming up against the heroes, so he's turned traitor in this one. But I'm thinking this is a chance for them to redeem that storyline because now they can say, yes, he turns traitor, but here's this cool way that it happens rather than just tacked on at the end as a kind of like shocker just for the sake of shocking you.
Okay.
So there's going to be a Sir Ragnar figure in there, but then we don't necessarily know, like, is he truly evil or is he one of these like, oh, he's being manipulated by magic and maybe you can save him kind of thing?
Double agent. He's a double agent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he double crosses him. Yeah, I'm rereading Lord of the Rings, and there's a part in there where like Saruman is like, well, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm working for the Dark Lord. I'm not really, like I'm gonna betray him later. And it's like, is he just saying that to fool Gandalf, or does he really think like he's deluded enough to think that he can do that? So Sir Ragnar may be a tragic figure, or he may just be a low down, dirty traitor that you're going to have to end along with these
Oh,
other guys. So
pretty
it'll be
much
interesting to see
good
how
old Sir Ragnar, you know.
good old Sir Ragnar. Yeah. Well, other people have made like fan quests where it's like, oh, well, what were his adventures like before he got captured?
And
I mean, maybe they broke him down, and yeah, he's a
here's
Manchurian candidate.
here's good old Strangeth bus right there.
Big swole right
Big
there.
swole. Coming in
Yeah.
fashionably late as always, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. His if you thought his muscles were big before, like look at him now. Yeah, and his sword is just it's like a tree trunk. But yeah, there in the
He's
background you
cleaving
can
him.
see the yeah, it's like sort of the berserk guts rage. Yeah, you can see the three specters in the background. So we finally know what those are.
So who's this
But
lady then?
there's all these other characters. Yeah. So the green skinned character on the left is Sinestra, but that character, okay, so the one with the armor who's like swinging the sword next to the barbarian, that's the elf. That's the
Oh,
female
okay.
elf. But who's that figure to her right? It's got like the dagger, like
The
the
rogue?
reverse grip
Is
on the
that what,
dagger.
like a rogue elf or something?
Yeah, there is, but it's like, are they fighting? So is there an evil rogue in the box too? We don't know. Is that doesn't look like one of those Cadre of the Raven Veil figures that we've seen. See, we're going back to this because this was the first thing they showed us. They showed us this picture, and we were endlessly speculating about what all this means, and now we're trying to get it back. So the Ravens Veil people, they all have like hoods or masks or helmets, whereas this she elf, she kind of looks like the rogue figure because there was a male and female version
Mm-hmm.
of the character in the box. But it's like, okay, so is there like another one in there, or are they just saying like if you happen to have that character, it plays into it, or is it just fluff for the sake of putting it on the cover? Because all this speculation is fun because they're teasing us and trying to get us to speculate about things. But once it gets released, no one cares about that. Like everybody knows what's in the box, and you look at the box to give you an idea of like what to expect. So you
Hey,
figure most of these characters are gonna actually be part of the story.
did we all know who these guys? You know, you got the knight, the mage, barbarian, the elf, the dwarf, but who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. Is that one of the? Yeah, he's the most important one. Well, but I mean, look, there's so many little details. Like zoom back in for a second. I pointed this
What,
out on one of the other
where,
streams.
where am I zooming at?
Oh, the who is this guy? Yeah,
Oh, you want me to zoom back? Oh yeah, to this dude.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, the guy in the corner. Okay, but as you're looking, look at those faces, those screaming faces. So are those like in that cloud to the right? So are those like elf souls, or are they specters being made,
Well,
or
you said this was Sinestra. You said, isn't she like what does she
yeah?
do? Doesn't she does she capture souls? She's a previous
Well,
villain, right?
yeah, she was a previous villain, so it's like, yeah, is she still like is she more dangerous now that she's dead? Is she and then my speculation, which nobody seems to agree with me, but it's like the fact that she's over there next to Sir Ragnar, is she like manipulating him, or maybe it's a manipulation of a different kind, like it's like, hey, if you work for me, I'm going to give you all this power. And so he's like, hell yeah. Or as opposed to, yes, I must obey you. He's
Oh,
hypnotized or
Sir
something.
Ragnar looks like he lives by the seat of his pants. So whoever has
Yeah.
more gold.
Actually, when you think about it, he's got the messy white hair, he's got the red cape. Hey, wait a minute. No, it's no, it's not Uncle Zargon. He doesn't have the sunglasses. Couldn't be him. Yeah.
Oh.
But my thought was there's all these other characters in the background. So for all we know, there's a whole bunch of other like elven type characters. But I wonder what the other monsters are going to be. Is it just going to be the specters and a bunch of elves, or something we've never seen before? Are we going to get more like orcs and skeletons, or what? Because I mean, yes, you're going to have the game system. Like you're supposed to have the game system already, and you throw this on top, so you can use all the stuff that you already have in those adventures. But what else is going to be new is the question.
That's
So,
the
yeah,
that's the big question. You know,
it is
that's the
big.
big ticket item.
Yeah. Well, and once this comes out, we don't have an official release date yet. I don't think for Prophecy of Telor, other than within a year. So Prophecy of Telor was just a quest book originally. And so the question is, what's going to be in there? A lot of speculation, as I've said before. So there's nothing really new for Prophecy of Telor other than this would be an opportunity for them to release more of the formerly exclusive stretch goals if they wanted to really stick it to the scalpers. But as far right now, we don't know more about that. So it all seems to be focused on Rise of the Dread Moon, and so we don't have long to wait
By
to
the
find
way,
out the
how
rest.
are they finding scalpers?
Well, I think it's kind of like you know it when you see it. So the Guardian Knight was $15 when it came out. So there's people
Okay.
selling it for like 250 on eBay. It's kind of like a typical price, but there's people that are selling it like the Mythic tier, which was 150 plus $30 shipping. They're selling it for like 1,000, stuff like that. So it's a
Oh
it's
man.
it's something that's not being sold anymore. So they can claim it's like ultra rare, collector quality, all this stuff, and just
Request
name their price.
Mythic tier. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me
I haven't checked the prices in a while, so it may be better, it may be worse.
well, that's Hasbro. That's out of stock. Hold on. Let me
Hasbro stock. But yeah, but the idea behind these retail releases is you can't scalp it because it's like, okay, I went to the, GameStop and bought all the copies. It's like, okay, well, they just put in more copies. I tried to sell it for 250. Well, it's still 15. Yeah. Now it
oh
is
man.
true that on the Hasbro Pulse page, they still have like the MSRP for stuff that's pretty high. So like you saw the retail game system is like 135.
So which one are you looking at? You're looking at the just the Mythic tier box?
Yeah, Mythic tier or Guardian Knights, Commander of the Guardian Knights. Way, way out of proportion.
Yeah, some of
And
these.
I
Well, the ones I'm looking for, that you're saying the price for, they're like $1,250 or 975, and they're sealed, which anybody
feel
can reseal a box. Just letting
honest
people know. Like
mine
you could.
when I got mine, when you know what they mean by sealed, they're these stupid like tape circles that are just
Yeah.
like stuck in the four corners of the box, and people were like pulling them off and like ripping chunks out of the box and then people were like, well, you could use a hair dryer or you could try to peel it with like alcohol or something, and yeah.
So you can.
And
Yeah, this is
and
what.
the mythic tier is really cool, but the problem is like the build quality, like it's kind of hastily put together. So like a lot of people had like figures that had like missing hands or like broken pieces were broken off or like torn corners on stuff or like the board ripped after a year of just like basic use. A lot of the figures were bent because they were really crammed into the little, I call them the candy trays. Like the retail version that you have, they like redesigned everything. They redesigned the box. They redesigned like the thing that holds it so that's like it just like lifts off rather than you having to like yank it out of there and like have it go flying across the room. So they've done things to like improve the build quality. But when they released the Mythic tier, I mean, as cool as it was kind of like it feels a little rushed and it feels a little janky in places. Now the Guardian Knight I think is really good build quality, but all it is two figures and 12 cards.
Oh, here's one. Oh, this is just the box. Never mind.
Just the box. Yeah. Yeah, this is the part that everyone throws away because it sucks. It's like it holds them securely, but if you're like me, like every week I open up the box, pull the pieces out, and so like I'm just like putting so much effort, so much
Oh,
force,
hold on a second.
it's like ripping it
That's
apart.
what the inside looks like. Oh, no offense. I feel like you got screwed if you bought this. Like, because okay, no, for real, I did one unboxing. No offense, Kern, because like I said, I'm waiting for like
Mhm.
us to get together to do anything with that with the HeroQuest stuff because I wouldn't know what I'm doing by myself. But like, oh my god, way better put together, and it's not like $100 something. You're paying like, how much did you guys pay retail for Mythic Tier? Like 150, you said? Was it 150, 175?
Yeah, it was 100 for just the game system, and like 5 extra like figures, and
Oh
then
man,
it was
I
one
feel awful for you guys.
it
This
was
just looks like something like.
150.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, it's even worse in person because you're just like yanking it. Like you can watch the videos where people are just like they're like pulling like super hard, and I mean you go, oh, it's a
Yeah,
nerd
and they
fingers.
just break, like they like snap in half, or like, not to mention this
Well, they
plastic doesn't last very long. It like
no
crumples and like.
candy
So
trays. Yeah,
the
well,
only thing you got was the box.
the
Like,
figures the figures think to be fair though, the figures are like the bendy plastic, so you yank it out of there, and the sword is all bent, but you like miniature people know this. You dunk it in the boiling water and it straightens right out.
God,
It's
even
like okay, it's cool.
look at the artwork.
Yeah.
I get that sometimes simple artwork makes it look better if it's like a collector's edition. But
Hmm.
oh look, hey, it's Sir Death. What's up, man? I can confirm that the
Hey,
tray has a rather loud snap when taking things out.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
wait, the build quality is like I said, way
Sir
better.
Death, I just want to say Sir Death, shout out to Sir Death Vids, who is in the chat now. He did an awesome new video from like the Canadian perspective of like finally getting the Mythic tier, and it's like, is it really worth it? So definitely check that out on YouTube, watch it. Um, yeah, at the time, I think a lot of people were settling for this because they were saying, well, for all we know, this is the last and only time we get HeroQuest ever again. I
Oh,
mean,
okay, that makes sense.
there was rumblings from people at Avalon Hill who were like, we really want to release this in retail, but we're not sure yet, or we hope so, you
This
know.
is like one of their like what do they call it? Like one of their like community fundraiser things.
Yeah,
I can't remember
like
what you call it.
crowdfunded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're trying
well,
to
Hasbro
crowdfund it. Yeah.
Pulse. Well, it's like, yeah, it's like, oh man, if Riva's lightsaber gets done, man, there might be another one. It's like, well, we don't know. It's good, and then it fails.
I
It's like, oh,
I want to
never
thank
mind.
the community here because like you guys did a wonderful job trying to bring this back, because if this is what you guys got for Hero
I,
Quest,
yeah,
even the old box, because the old box is what I was looking for, because I'm a, for some reason I just like the old box, like the old
I
box and
do.
like the old figures and stuff.
I prefer the old box. This is, I
But
mean, the inspired. Yeah,
charging $600, and this is
yeah,
what you get. Like,
yeah.
once again, granted, it's
And
nicely packaged. Things look nice, but at the same time, once again, this is like some 7-year-old packaged. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't expect this to be in my this is a collector's edition, right? This is like what they would say
yeah,
because it's mythic. They put
yeah,
the mythic at the end. So
yeah.
like, forgive me for sounding a little rough, but like,
No, just
you're
lay
trying
it
to
all out
yank.
there.
You have to yank that shit out, and like you said, some of this was like they had to. They didn't have like a huge budget for HeroQuest at the time,
No,
so all of a sudden
well,
you're excited and you want to like show it off, and all of a sudden you pull something a little too hard and it breaks, and then like
yeah.
there goes your mythic anything. It's
When my
now.
when I Yeah, when I did my my unboxing of the Mythic tier, I lost one of the skulls like right away because it was so small. It was just gone. It's like, oh, okay, never mind. The cat got it. Forget it. I did eventually find it later though. Uh, so it's just like I'd given up hope, but it was like there it is. Now this is the highlight, the quest books. But even here, I mean, there's a couple of things they could have done better. Like they have like actual thread stitching in there. It's like hand stitched, but I
Well,
mean,
that's
it's just
cool.
like glossy paper. But just a cover, just like a cardboard cover, would have been fine. Because
Yeah,
like your hands, the oil from your hands, like you're holding on to your sweaty palms as you're playing. So I mean, it's like on the one hand, it's like they weren't quite sure what they wanted to do. Do they want this to be like a really fancy collector's edition that you're just going to keep on a shelf and admire, or is this something that you're going to tear into and like play every day and just enjoy? So it's like, which is it? I mean, the big thing about, yeah, this is the original game. The original game, it was like, okay, here's a board game for kids, But guess what? We're gonna like get one of like the premier like tabletop fantasy miniature
Yeah, but look how
makers
nice.
involved.
Look
Yeah,
how nice it is, though. And
the
like,
good
even though it might
quality
have been mass
artwork.
produced, it was like,
Yeah,
it just like there was at least some love put into this stuff.
definitely. Well,
Even
and
though
those
like it was
boards.
like
Yeah.
messily painted at times, like
Oh, I
people
love it.
like their stuff, but
Kids.
it's
Yeah,
kids
painted it.
stuff. Kids.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys cared back in the day when you were like 8 years old about the artwork of your figures. Like you made this work. I made
Yeah,
like my Star Wars figures work.
yeah. When I was a kid and we would go to like the grocery store, they had like a little toy section, like to keep your kids quiet. You get them the dollar toy or whatever, and they'd be like dinosaurs and a bag of dinosaurs, and it'd be like it's just like tabletop, not tabletop plus, but it'd be like one pass with an airbrush on the back of the dinosaur to give it like another color, and then just like white on the eyes, red in the mouth, white on the teeth, white on the claws, done. Like there it is. There's your dinosaur. And it's like that was how you painted something in our minds. So when we did this stuff like this, that's what it was. Now the European kids had something different. They had White Dwarf magazine, which was all about promoting um
Some of these are already
promoting
written on.
yeah, it's classic. Yeah, well, it gives you like an insight into someone else's childhood. Like, oh, this is how they were. Oh, they got killed right there. Yeah. So White Dwarf magazine was all about promoting Games Workshop, promoting Warhammer, and so it was like, oh yeah, buy these other miniatures, and here's how you can paint them in like a professional way, and it would give you like step-by-step instructions, and buy all our paint, and buy all our brushes and everything. Sir Death says, "Glad to be here. I was looking for a bit while painting one of my mini skeletons." Yeah. So I love HeroQuest, and I'm definitely attached to like the old style of the art. But yeah, someone who didn't grow up with this kind of stuff, it's a little harder to get into, but you do get that 80s vibe of just like fantasy, like everything is like it's a painting that's come to life as opposed to this is some computer generated like I wish this was a video game, but it's not kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Kind
this
of
is
overproduced.
brings you that schlock, that like that not schlock, but like I was thinking of like computer generated schlock, but like this brings you that like that artwork where you there's a little bit of like underlying fear in it, right? Like, but
Yeah.
it's so good that like
Yeah.
yeah, you
It's
feel
like
the artwork
I'm
in it.
I'm a little kid and I'm a little bit scared, but I feel like kind of cool like playing this, so I'm gonna be brave and do it. Yeah. Well, and I like to hear your fresh perspective. And the thing is, like, I gushed over this when it came out, the remake, and I definitely have like the nostalgia goggles and like the fandom and all that stuff. So, like, some people were way more negative about it, and I was very positive, but I wasn't like over the moon about it. I mean, I had plenty of criticisms, but it was mostly for the new stuff. Like, oh, is the new stuff going to live up to the old one? But we've seen, unfortunately, that some of the mythic stuff was not as good as it could have been. But I think the fact that Avalon Hill is going out of their way to make sure that the exclusives that people still want are going to come out, and they're probably going to be better than what we paid for. So it's like, yeah, we were kind of the guinea pigs, but I don't resent it. I mean, I'm glad I paid a 150 instead of like some absurd price. Like I wouldn't have bought from one of these guys. Like it wouldn't have been worth it to me.
Yeah, no, I
It's like,
understand
oh,
that.
347.71 for the Commander of the Guardian Knights. Like, listen, I'll go to Reaper Bones miniatures and I'll spend like $10 on two knight figures and I'll paint them red. Done. I'll print some cards. Like, it's not going to cost me three
Yeah,
hundred
this guy's
forty-seven
want
dollars or
six twenty five,
$34.
six
Yeah,
twenty five for it, but it's just the
buy it
Mythic
now price.
exclusive box from the Hasbro Pulse campaign. It's been opened and the tokens
It,
punched out, but
and
otherwise
it's not even
unplayed.
it's not even that cool. It's just a box to put the stuff in, and it's like just because it's rare.
Like you'd like maybe consider like just for the fact that it's worth something, maybe pay that price if it was unopened or the
Yeah,
tokens weren't punched out. But this guy's opened it and touched it with his hands.
yeah. He's thrown away the part that he doesn't want, and he's hoping that you'll pay whatever he asks for it.
Yeah, nah, bro.
Yeah. So And they seem kind of like sheepish about it. It's like, well, we don't like the fact that this exists either. And I mean, hopefully our new products will make people forget about this stuff, and they'll stop trying to buy it at these absurd prices from
Yeah,
people.
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So, but they've made little improvements, as you've seen. Like
Oh yeah.
the boxes are a little more, they're sturdier. So it's like it kind of makes me think of like NES games. Like you remember the NES games? They would come in these like almost like these cereal boxes. It's like you rip it open, you throw the box in the trash, and then you pull the cartridge out, and then you play the game. And so, what
I
is a
only had
cartridge?
one.
Well, it's got a little dust cover, a little black dust cover, and the cartridge just sits on your table or it sits on like a rack or something.
Yeah.
But like, who saved those boxes? People just threw them away.
There are a
And
couple.
so
Like I said, when I had all my
now they're
stuff,
collector's item.
I had a couple of like the Turok 2 box I had.
Oh
Like in pretty
yeah.
good condition. Like yeah, that's for the N64. Like N64 is the
hmm
same thing. It was just a plastic box. And what 8-year-old when they took their game out kept the box? They
Yeah,
didn't.
you threw it
You
away.
stared at the
So
box
now
on the
it's
way home with like
collector's item.
anticipation. You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait to play this game. And then when you got home, you ripped the thing to shreds, tore the game out, and you put the game in, and you didn't even
Yep.
look at that box anymore because it was just paper.
Yep. And then you got a Sharpie out and you wrote your name on the cartridge so that when
Yep.
you took it to your friend's house, they wouldn't steal it. Yeah. Or whatever. Or they were borrowing it for a week, while you had their game as insurance.
I
Well,
have that
but
Pokemon
now, like,
Game Boy holder because it
now
Game Boy
Sega
boxes.
I appreciated how the Sega Genesis games, when they came, they were in those plastic clamshell, almost like a rental case. And it had, like, the little hanging tag on it, and it had, like, the artwork was behind the like transparent plastic, so it was like almost like a collector case already, just for the regular game. And you pop it open, you take the cartridge out. Like they assumed that you were going to keep it, and it was really nice. Whereas but like getting a Genesis case is no big deal. Whereas back in the day, it's like okay, people threw away the NES boxes, and now the NES boxes are like a hot item. Like if you can get that, wow, that's going to be worth a lot if it's in
Yeah,
good
because
condition.
it's the box with the game. It's
Rarity,
complete.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, rarity, yeah. And those manuals and everything. So, and yeah, it's interesting with like the Genesis manuals. You see how they started out, they were like glossy and in color, and then they started to get black and white, and then finally, like at the end of the Genesis's lifespan, it's just like black and white paper, like cheap paper, and it's just like kind of stapled
Which was
together in
weird
there.
because like even back then the manual was still pretty like relevant to the game. I
Yeah, you
think
didn't
like
go
you
online to look for stuff. It was just like, okay, how do I play this game? It's not
like
self-evident.
yeah,
Like you
it
got to
didn't like
know
give you hints or anything, but like it still told you how to play the and like GameStons told your hands still around
storyline.
that time. But like yeah, like I
hmm
still read manuals for games even around the PS2 era. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
was excited. Like on the way home, I was like, open up my
yeah.
PS2 game and like read the manual for a little while.
When I'm not playing the game, I'm reading about the game. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, all that.
dude, that was
Or
so
like
fun.
you'd get so good that you'd find errors in it. You're like, well, wait a minute, that isn't technically true. You can actually do this. You find little mistakes. Or
Like
that's not what that character.
The Zelda
Had the wrong
manual.
screenshot.
That was a fun read because it would tell you all about the characters and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it was just like ridiculous. It's like nah, or they changed it. But yeah, it's like okay, well that's what they wrote. That's what it is. Yeah.
Some dude had
So
his job. His job was like, hey, you need to name all these characters, all these creatures in this
uh,
world.
little Goomba, yeah, let's go with that. Uh, Koopa,
P.
Paratroopa, got
Tier Griffin. Peter Griffin.
it. Yeah. So I think HeroQuest is in a good place, but it remains to be seen. Like, is this pack going to be like some really awesome thing that we're going to look back and go, this is the greatest, or be like, wow, that was a rough start to their making of new stuff? Because it sounds like they're almost kind of like done with the legacy stuff. Like we've remade all the North American stuff, and that's what everybody wanted, and time to move on to new stuff, right? But then people are like, well, what about the European packs? What about Against the Ogre Horde? What about Wizards of Morcar? Are those coming out? And it's like there's going to be some tricky things implementing those, but not that tricky, not that hard. But once they've got that done, okay, then what? What's next? We don't know. So they're
Stay
keeping us
tuned.
on the hook for all that. Stay tuned. So
All right.
anyway,
And
I'm excited about it.
well, with that, we'll take our break and we'll move on to our next
Cricket.
topic following that. But before we do, does anybody have any input? Does anybody want to put anything into the chat? Do we have anybody who has any further questions or comments regarding Rise of the Dread Moon? Because I'm pretty sure Kurgan would be happy to answer them. I know I
Or
won't
you can
because I don't have
you
any
can
knowledge on that.
you can school me on something that I've missed. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
all
the whole
these
point of the
guys like
Rantcast.
Sir Death and Amalgamash and Always Bored, Never Boring, and like a dozen other people who've got more followers and subs than I. I'm a little bit jealous, but I mean, there's lots of people that have talked this stuff up, and I haven't watched every video, so they may have like hit on something like, "Oh man, I should have said that." But I like the fact that we have like all these different uh, people spinning yarns and stories, and I mean, I don't have any special insights, and it is kind of fun just trying to guess what's going to happen, and like, well, what I like to see as a fan. And if they don't do it, you just do it yourself. Like when Mage of the Mirror came out, I was really disappointed that the ogres were gray. So I got out my blue spray paint and I spray painted them blue, and now they're perfect.
And I've always brought that up, right? Because to me, HeroQuest is whatever you decide to make it. At the end of the day, they lay down the base, right? They lay down the base, the foundation. They lay down certain rules and stuff. But at the end of the day, people always end up. You can make the game whatever you want to make it.
You're
It's a board
supposed to
game.
make it. Yeah, you're supposed to make it what you
Now,
want.
some people won't. Like I said, to me, it's the same
Yeah.
thing with like D&D, and I know that's like probably a sin for some people, but
Yeah.
there are people who follow like the game to the line,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are people that, like me, who will find creative and other innovative ways to spice up the game. And I'm not saying that if you just want to play it by the rules, it's fine, because like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's still a fun game if you play it by the rules. I'm personally that guy who just wants to, like what we do. If you end up having to want to roll an uncommon feat, it
Sure.
adds some flair. If you want to make the game more challenging by upgrading monsters or doing stuff like that, by letting the community get involved, great. For me in D&D, it was, hey, let's incorporate certain video game statistics into our D&D match, like from KOTOR, or do stuff like have the community interact with each other, or the characters interact more with each other, and what they do can have consequences or can have certain actions that change the storyline. It gave me more prep time, but at the end of the day, it
Yeah.
helped. It made the game way more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You customize it. You do your own thing. It's not just a matter of, well, the game kind of sucks, so I'm going to make it not suck by fixing it. It's like, yeah, it still needs to be in a serviceable format on release, but the fact that, yeah, part of the whole thing is you making it your own. Like, okay, the quest is over. What next? Make your own quest. It's kind of like in those. So I remember playing like Phantasy Star 2, like on the Genesis, like Japanese RPGs, and it was like your character. You can name your character, but if you don't name your character, they give you a default name. Like, oh, you are Rolf. Hello, Rolf. It's like, okay, well, maybe you like that name. I want to be Rolf. It's like, no, I want to be. You put in your own name, or you make up a name. So it's like it's not like one is right and one is wrong, but it's like you have that ability. How many games do you have where they're telling you, we want you to do this. We want you to change it up. After you play the default mission, after you play with the prefabricated character, you can do more. But yeah, maybe you play it and you got a taste and that's all you needed and that was good enough. Put it back on the shelf. That's cool. But I mean, those
Indeed.
people are going to be like, yeah, but I want you to sell me more quests. you know. So it's like they're selling you a quest, yes, but they're also selling you components to help spark your imagination to make more stuff. So yeah, I mean, I could recreate all of these characters that you see in front of you in my game right now with just my imagination and paper, or I could 3D print minis or whatever. But the fact that they're selling the box and it's like, okay, I want to support them, and yeah, it'd be kind of cool to have some of those characters, and then just keep on going. because
Oh,
you may be in that household where mom and dad are like, listen, we already bought you the big box. It says to use your imagination, so use your imagination. But I want the expansion. Yeah, your imagination's the expansion, kid. Go for it. Ah,
shucks.
gee, dad.
All right, well,
Gee, mom.
sit here. We're coming up on the hour mark. We're gonna go ahead and take our quick break. We'll be right back in the next couple minutes uh, with more Rantcast. So don't go away.
Hey, I want to
What's
say
up?
one thing.
What's
Sorry.
up?
So the HeroQuest fan stream will not be streaming this Saturday. Sorry, everybody.
Oh yeah.
At the Memorial Day festivities going on, so I will not be streaming live, but I'm really glad that we could be a part of this together tonight. So, Rantcast.
Rantcast.
Yeah.
All right, be right back, everybody.
Yep.
Strike down at you with great vengeance and furious rantcast.
Whoa, whoa. Was that Samuel L. Jackson? Oh man. Thanks for telling us. Oh man. Didn't know he was in the house. Ooh, this gave me a little bit of a scare. Ooh, oh man. Anyway, if anybody doesn't already know, our next subject today is AI. AI is kind of in its wild west state. So enjoy this lovely picture of this background that I didn't have time to prep on, but oh, they should not all be destroyed. Kurgan. Great things you can do with your phone. That was not Samuel L. Jackson for real, by the way. Just to disclose, it kind of leads me into our kind of our short. It's going to be a short topic because we kind of need to close out around 11. But AI and our other topic's going to be the upcoming 2 video games that I'm going to be talking about. We're going to be doing kind of like, is AI kind of going into a dangerous territory, right? From what I've heard, Chat GPT is kind of going into Congress. It's kind of being the guy who's presenting his findings at Congress, I believe, right now. So there's going to be some regulations, but as of right now, we are officially at the biggest point where you can literally write something in AI and have a full page of work done. If you just do a little bit of tweaks, you have a full page of work done in school. There is a program on your phone and or laptop that will do your entire math homework for you. You can not only deepfake a celebrity or person, you can generate their voice. They have now gone as far as implementing Chat GPT into a robot that will speak for you. There is lots of dangerous things. And I'm not like talking about that the AI will rise up and kill us, like in a joking sense, yes, but in another sense, I'm more talking about how the fact that we get amazing artwork like the stuff behind me. I can make something similar to that in seconds if I put in the right stuff. They have text to art AI where you can type something in like Mario fighting zombies in Fallout 4 and it will make it. Like legit make it.
Oh yes.
Um my profile picture on Discord was made in AI, by the way, just to prove a point. Um I took a picture and the AI redrew it in cartoon comics font or in card just in and gave me 4 different variants just to make sure it got it right. So we're kind of going into the next 10 years of anybody could be, because I was talking about this, like I think I was talking about this with you, Kurgan. I don't know if it was last rantcast or a couple rantcasts ago, where not everybody can be a full like brought out streamer because you kind of miss the resources, the money, the not everybody's an artist or a music developer. You can kind of eventually swap those things out with AI if you have a good enough system, and you'll be able to do that. Like right now, I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast, which uses AI to filter out my noise and kind of help with that. If I put a compressor on, I will have what a lot of people used to spend hundreds of dollars for. Um, you know, plus if I wanted to, lots of people use AI to make their logo, their backdrop. Um, there's now an AI that's going to help make thumbnails for you. And like right now, it's kind of obvious, it'll just rip the images together, and sometimes they're bad. But depending on the program or model, because there are different deep learning abilities or programs or deep learning. I don't really know what to call them, but some are better than others. Some are like knockoffs that people are just trying to make you pay for. Um, some are really good, and if you know what you're doing right now, you can be a one-man army. And some people could use that to go in the next 10 years and start scamming people. Like, hi, this is such and such from the DOT or from a legit business. And, instead of, how we recognize scams today, they can hide that using AI by voice generation or, deep faking, because you can almost deep fake live now. The things that we are finding innovative today can be used as tools for great evil. And can, I'm in my 30s now. We could be on a whole new trend of scam in the next 30, 40 years. So, and it'd be really bad because if we don't have regulations for scams now, I cannot imagine if we don't get a hold on this, what's going to happen in the next 30, 40 years. And like I said, I'm not just talking without any like article right now, but that's a big thing. You can look up any of this stuff. YouTube has some visual proof on some of the GPT models that are out there right now for AI. So AI is it's a pretty neat but nasty business. Like I said, there are tons of apps out there on your phone that will draw your face, mimic voices. It is now a commercial product. And it's still kind of rough with certain apps, but if you find the right stuff that's a little bit more freebase and you can tweak and modify. Yeah, you're unmuted. Kurgan, are you still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let me go. I'm riffing on you without trying to derail your train of thought here. Yeah. I agree.
But stuff that you could tweak and modify, it'd be crazy. And like I said, this app has stuff from stuff from games. Like, let's say I wanted to mimic Duke Nukem. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, okay, what if I'm like one of these indie graphic designers doing
Well,
small gigs for stuff? Someone's gonna put me out of a job. Well, I guess I gotta learn to make an AI program then.
well, and that's what I'm saying is like it's another big thing where I think hopefully we find at least some regulation on it, right? Like because it's
Yeah.
right now it's just
Well,
fun. I hope that that's all it gets used for is fun, right? But like with
fun,
fun
yeah.
comes like people who are just straight up,
Scum.
yeah, evil.
Scumbags, yeah.
All right, so here you go. See if it'll do it here.
Hi, this is Duke Duke, and you were listening to the Rantcast Balls of Steel.
So it's still rough on this because this is a commercial app, right?
It's hilarious. It's hilariously bad.
It's
But
really bad. But like there are certain programs that will smooth that out and it will sound almost better.
yeah,
Like this is just voice to speech. So it's something
yeah,
you can just download on your phone.
yeah. Well, it used to be people like if they get caught saying something embarrassing, like, "Oh yeah, it was a bot." It's like no one believes you. But now, pretty soon, it's gonna be like, "Well, yeah, maybe it was. Maybe that wasn't really you streaking naked down First Avenue. You know, maybe it was just a deep fake." Sorry about that.
But like the voice itself, like if you said something other than what I was doing right there, maybe something a little less run on or something smaller, it would probably sound a little less fake.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Wow, they have a lot of cartoons. I don't even know. Oh, here you go.
People are gonna forget how to make their own like art because the computer's gonna do it for them. I mean, I guess that's what's going to drive it. Like if the AI program costs $50, but you can figure out how to draw the art yourself for like $20, you're going to do the cheap thing if you're a small time
And once
creator.
again, like this, I think this thing wants me to pay for better stuff. So like this is like a free version of whatever knockoff it's using on a server. So I bet you like once again, there are free programs out there that allow you to modify and use the voices if you can like use cloning. There was one that if you just recorded enough, like the longer you recorded somebody's voice, it would take
Mhm.
more like I said
Get a
the pitches,
vocabulary.
tones, the vocabulary, and then you could have it say whatever you wanted. And it sounded slow like the Samuel L. Jackson one because that one was a lot better. It just sounds like they're speaking a run-on sentence without stopping, kind of hypnotic.
Talking and talking, going from topic to topic.
Yeah,
Monotone. I was almost doing the Picard thing, yeah.
but see if this one sounds better. This one might be like really
What's your mug
crappy.
say? Yoda best dad?
Yeah,
Ah,
Yoda
that's sweet.
Yoda best dad ever. Um, this one here
Great.
is.
That's the Rantcast.
Oh, that one's horrible. Oh, oh, I don't think
Who's this
King
supposed
Kill
to be?
could say the rant cast very well.
Damn it, Bobby. Did I catch you listening to the Rantcast again?
I can't you listen to the rant cast? Damn it!
Yes, you are. You are listening to the Rantcast.
Oh,
Sean Connery.
yes, Sean Connery. Let me borrow your Humvee.
Just borrowing your Humvee. Money penny. Yep.
Like this one is just. I'm still gonna prove a point, but this one is. Yeah, this one's pretty messed up. Oh God, ads.
If you can do a better impression of a celebrity than an AI, you're going to be valuable.
Well, then a phone AI. There's not much to prove, but like I said, you can find if you look online, there are a lot of text to speech AIs out there that do way better than something on your phone. But that's what I'm
Yep.
saying is if it gets to your phone and you can like people are starting to do stuff on their phones, it's bad.
Yeah.
So
Nothing good can come of that.
like I said, this is just some weird ass knockoff. But I'm gonna see if
Yeah.
this one's better.
Going to borrow your Humvee. You're breathtaking.
That just sounds like Microsoft Sam.
Man. It's funny to imagine that there's a guy walking down the street who actually talks like that. Like he actually has a robot voice like that, and He's trying to order food and be like, no one can take him seriously. He's like trying to call into work, telling me he's sick. They like don't
Oh,
believe him. It's like, come on. Oh,
oh
it's
man.
really him, that guy.
Yeah, that one was bad. The only one that I saw that was good there was that Samuel L. Jackson one. That was really good.
Yeah. At a certain point, it's just like, okay, we're not going to be able to do this anymore because it'll be too real. People will be trying to sue, trying to regulate it out of existence, or yeah, like you say, do scams with it that really do hurt people.
Indeed.
It's not just like a harmless prank, like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger's telling me that he's gonna, you know, ram his fist into my stomach. That's pretty funny. It's like,
Watch the rant cast. Oh,
I'm gonna ram him into your stomach.
oh, oh.
Dr. Phil is gonna call you up, diagnose you as needing to watch more of the rant cast.
Oh no.
And see, the thing is,
Oh.
you can pay celebrities to like actually endorse your thing, but you gotta pay them. And it's like, if the AI can do it, guess what? You're not paying them, and they're not going to be happy, and they're going to have to find other ways to make money.
Yeah, so this one that I have here is a lot more a lot more you got more use with it. So like you can change the intonation or voice clarity, but you do have to pay for it.
Yeah. But
And
see,
it's only
there,
got
it's like it doesn't do the work for you. You still have to guide it. It has to have a human hand guiding it. So
well,
it's like
it
you already know what the real thing is supposed to be.
also allows you have to like record a voice. You can record a voice and yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I want to hear
but yeah.
Frank Sinatra like tell me about how to play HeroQuest.
But yeah, it's
Well, you know.
just a small topic, something I've brought up many times. Like I said, I could probably write something based on the Rantcast, describing the Rantcast with ChatGPT, and give me a 3-page or a 3-paragraph description on what we do, and it would
Yeah.
it would tell us and it was um,
Kurgan
like I said,
bashes it. Strange Bus praises it. Strike it. Reverse that.
strike it, reverse it, turn around,
Pick a bail.
pick a bail.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's right now it's like a toy. It's a way to amuse yourself. You know, make you laugh like you're a clown. You know,
Okay,
like
so
it's a big joke, but could
it's
get ugly.
on HeroQuest and how
I mean, I run into people, and this is what they do. They'll just be like, let's yeah, write a
Zargon
HeroQuest adventure.
will dominate the heroes.
Hopefully, this is still well. we're not a kid friendly stream, so
And no, this AI, this is the expensive one. This one you can't put anything pornographic in; it'll tell you it won't do it. Nothing pornographic or
in
too.
my programming to impersonate an adult entertainment.
But it actually wrote a very long song. Yeah.
Dang.
So in realm of darkness, where shadows loom, a quest begins, a hero's doom. They gather
Oh,
round, their spirits
oh.
high, unaware of the evil drawing nigh. Deep in the abyss, Sargon lies in wait, master of chaos, hungry for the bait. His minions gather, his power grows. The heroes think they got the upper hand, but little do they know. Hero quest, the battle begins. Sargon's eyes gleam, his victory he grins. With darkness as his ally, he'll conquer with might. Zargon, the Lord of Shadows, claims the hero's light. Through treacherous dungeons, they venture forth, searching for glory, unaware of their worth. Oh, that one didn't work so well. But Zargon
Yeah.
whispers in the dark, sowing doubt, tearing their unity apart. See,
Now we just need to
but
get
you can
we
edit this.
need to get the Christopher Lee voice to like rap this, and then
Or if you don't like it, you can
yeah,
regenerate it.
yeah.
Boom. That's
Listen,
like,
Chat
oh,
GPT, that sucked. I want you to do it again, but this time with feeling.
see,
I'm sorry, Dave. I will try again.
I will try again for you. I think back before it was a little more regulated, I asked it to write a song about like crapping your pants on a date. and it was
Hey,
like,
who couldn't identify with that? Who hasn't written a song
but
about
like,
that
and
time?
it did it, and it was really great. I don't think it will let me do that now this time.
Oh,
Write a
too bad.
song
But see, that's the
about
thing. Like, as soon as they create one of these
taking
AIs, the
your
first thing people want to do
pants
is
on
mess with
a
it.
date. Yeah, I don't
Because you
think
know
it'll
it's
do it.
not a real
Oh,
person. It's
wait,
just like,
wait.
let's do something embarrassing.
Yes,
You just have to use
yes,
their.
yes.
Met you on a Friday night, thought everything was right. We laughed, we talked, our chemistry was tight. But little did I know what fate had in store. Moment of embarrassment I just couldn't ignore. Cause as the night progressed, my stomach started to churn. A feeling of urgency, oh, when will I learn? I excused myself, tried to hide the strain, but it was too late. The accident it came. I pooped my pants on our date. What a twist of fate. Embarrassment consuming me, can't escape the state. Wish I could turn back time, erase this awful rhyme, but I pooped my pants on our date. Oh, what a crime.
I returned with a fake
That's
smile, pretending to be fine, but the smell lingered on. A moment so unkind, you looked at me with concern, a puzzled gaze. I stammered, stumbled, searching for the right phrase. Oh, how I wish for a miracle, a magic undo, to erase this awkward moment between me and you. But life's unpredictable, and sometimes it throws a curveball so bizarre, our embarrassment grows. I pooped my pants on our date. Oh, what a twist of fate! Embarrassment's consuming me. Can't escape the state. I wish I could turn back time, erase this awful rhyme, but I pooped my pants on our date. Oh, what a crime.
You were kind, understanding, and tried to ease my pain, but the damage was done, the stain would remain. We laughed it off awkwardly with a hint of grace, a moment we'd remember forever in our embrace. Life's unpredictable and sometimes it's absurd. Moments of vulnerability that can't be unheard. But we persevered, found laughter in the mess. And that's the beauty of love and all its awkwardness. In California, with 9mm bullets.
There you go.
He's got to throw in the 9mm bullets.
So,
I pooped my pants on our date. What a twist of fate, Moneypenny. Embarrassment consuming me. Can't escape this fate. Except if I were to borrow your Humvee
there you
and
go.
escape with it.
Write
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
song about Sean Connery. Is it Connery? Is that how you spell it?
Yeah.
Connery. Okay.
ERY. Yeah. Write
Borrowing
write a
your
song called write a
the
song called Plush.
and never returning it.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of these I have seen similar ones. It's like write a song about, and it's like it's almost like a stock song that they just kind of inserted words. It's almost like Mad Libs. Had a Humvee, shiny and grand, vehicle that made me feel like I was the prom king.
But one fateful day, fate played its trick. Sean Connery came along, my Humvee he would pick. With his
I
charm and smile,
I
he said,
sing about myself in the third person. It's embarrassing.
I'm a borrow your Humvee. Just a cute ride. There's no need to. Ah, sorrow. I don't know where this was coming from. Couldn't resist, starstruck and thrilled. Little did I know my fate would be unfulfilled. Sean Connery, where's my Humvee? You took it for a spin, but it's missing. Can't you see? I'm searching high and low, but it's nowhere to be found. Oh, Sean Connery, won't you bring me my Humvee back around? What? He drove away with a wink and nod. I stood there bewildered, feeling quite odd. Days turned into weeks, and weeks
Yeah.
into months. No sign of my Humvee, no trace, no hunch. Oh, Sean, what have you done? You took my prized possession, now it's on the run. I dream of
Like
the open road, the wind in my hair, but now all I have is this empty, longing stare.
this is like 1980s like creative writing class for kids. I mean, it's something. It gave you something. It's got
An
a
upgrade to
couple
Plus will
funny.
probably be better, but this is.
Yeah.
Hey, I think some of this is pretty good. You know, I could be the creative
Amuse
writing class
yourself.
guy, but
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
or you could do
looking
this.
for comedy gold.
write a review on HeroQuest.
Yeah.
Describing, I probably won't do this, but describing the game in 4 paragraphs.
Explain all the ways that The Last Jedi did
Online.
not ruin the franchise.
Oh, here you go. I'll make it write a positive review.
Oh man.
See,
Just crashed this.
it wrote 5. Oh, it did the summary in the 5th. But yeah, see, it just writes it. It's like I said, reviewing is dead, almost. If you, like I said, you have to do your own tweaks, right? Which you can copy and tweak. But like I said, people have wrote their own homework. They've done their own stuff. You can just write whatever you want and paste it, edit a little bit of it. Like I said, you could do a resume cover letter, edit it, and people get hired. Because that's all you need. Is if you edit it to make it not look as robotic, the AI has done the hard work for you. I'm not saying you just have to copy and paste it, but like, you read this. This almost looks like it has been an actual review, like just a basic review.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't read this from here, and this was on like some Joe Schmo's website, right?
You'd think,
Would you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Seems legit. And and a lot of it is very generic too. So it's almost like, I mean, they had generic content generators back in the day, but this is like a refinement. Much greater database to draw from. Positives. Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
had to stop there for a minute. It's having some trouble.
Fitting conclusion to the saga. That's like what a lot of the reviews actually said, like the one sentence reviews, and people are like, no way, this is real. This
That's what I'm saying though. Maybe this was released prior to that, and they're like, hey, just boom. Pays homage to the franchise legacy, offering numerous nods and references to previous films. Lastly, The Rise of Skywalker delivers. So you had to edit that because the summary is right here. But you could say The Rise of Skywalker delivers an epic scale of a Star Wars film. It is filled with high-stakes battles, thrilling space combat sequences, and moments of intense emotional resonance.
Yeah, well, there's definitely
my bad.
See, the funny thing is, like, some of this you can still like say, well, that's true. I did have intense emotions while I was watching that movie. Not the way you're thinking. You're thinking like, oh man, it's like, what the? This is
okay.
Ridiculous.
Next, finally but not least.
Oh man, yeah.
You've played Metal Gear Solid 3, have you?
No, but if you streamed it, I'm sure I've seen it.
Konami's back, my friend. I have not. I've not streamed it.
Oh.
But Konami's coming back to video games.
Konami. Man, I'm from the old school, so when I hear Konami, I think of like really great like franchise games.
So last year, I think it was last year, they announced Silent Hill. They're remaking Silent Hill 2. They announced this game this year. And people are wondering if they're hearing rumors about Castlevania being remade.
Oh man.
But here's the kicker, is Kojima is not with Konami anymore. And Metal Gear was Kojima's thing.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen, because the last game that Konami released that was without Kojima on a Metal Gear scale was Metal Gear Survive, and it did an awful job.
Wow. Yeah, I missed the whole Metal Gear train. I mean, I played Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty on the PS2, so that's how far back.
And I'm thinking they started with this one because technically in the storyline, I think 3 is technically the first game in the story.
I mean, it was on the NES, for crying out loud. Back in the day.
Yeah, but this takes place before those.
Well, and on the NES game on the cover, wasn't it? It was. I'm forgetting already. It wasn't Kyle Reese. It was from Aliens.
Kurt Russell? Wasn't Chris? Oh no, it was yeah.
Sean Bean.
Yeah, I think it was Sean Bean. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's called Metal Gear Solid Delta. I think is what that looks like a Delta sign to me. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So this is copyright music, but well, it's going away. Yeah.
So is Konami one of these companies that's like turned to the dark side, killed younglings,
have you not heard?
Gone on a path that you can't follow, breaking our hearts?
Have you not heard about the? You've not heard, have you?
Well, if I have, it didn't register because I haven't followed it.
So Konami. There was a big thing back in like 2014 with Konami and Kojima and stuff. Konami's one of those companies that is really bad to their developers, and around the 2014-2015 year, they kind of stopped making video games, shut down a lot of their major IPs, and like shelved them, almost pretty much killed them, and then just started making gambling stuff. They worked on pachinko and all the other stuff. The last thing that you heard about Silent Hill, or I heard about Silent Hill, was this. Like people, they announced this at a big convention, not a gaming thing, but I think it was a big convention. Silent Hill.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I know the gambling world exists, and you know it's always going to exist, but it's like, it's like the cheap way out. It's like, oh, I can't make good games, so I'm just gonna
it's this one.
Trick people out of their money.
And it tricked people because people thought they were gonna get something, but and they're like, oh shit.
I'm trying to think.
It was just a giant fuck you.
Isn't pachinko? Isn't it? It's like a pinball game, but you can't control it. It just kind of happens, and you try to see. Yeah, see, it shows what I know.
Because people thought, oh man, Silent Hill is coming back. Because I'll explain to you a little bit more after this, but
yeah. Dying for him anyway. Silent Hill. Oh, it's just dunk, dunk, dunk. Yeah, I feel cheated already. I feel so angry.
Well, and this was the game they canceled, by the way. So they canceled this game that was coming out, and then they re-released a pachinko game for it during a convention.
I mean, I guess if you're just playing your pachinko, and I just wanted to have it a Silent Hill theme, but it just feels just so cheap.
But oh, this guy's combining them. My bad. But anyway, at the end of the thing, because I'm just trying to find the thing. So never mind. He's combining the two, which is stupid. It's a parody.
Oh.
But at the end of the pachinko trailer, because they released the pachinko trailer, and it's just a whoop, 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 and it goes pull the lever, and it's like people were waiting for Silent Hill stuff to be announced, and they released this and canceled the Silent Hills game that was coming out in 2014, and then they severed ties with Hideo Kojima because of some weird dispute that was going on, and so no more Metal Gear, no more Silent Hill, no more anything that was coming from Kojima, and then Kojima ended up making Death Stranding on his own and all that stuff like that. So a lot of weird crap. So, and then Konami just stopped making video games. They were like, fine, fuck you guys. We'll just go and reap our money in gambling. And they did. Because gambling with pachinko makes a lot of fucking money. So
my childhood memories are gone.
Yeah. So they released Metal Gear Survive, I think, in 2016, 2015 or something like that, I think. And it was the most awful piece of shit ever made. And that was the last I've heard from Konami. But they had some really bad. They were one of those companies that had like really bad allegations of a horrible work environment and stuff like that. So, but like I said, my segment was really just about like the Metal Gear announcement, and the AI thing. two are which really like offbeat topics, but they both scare me. So
Yeah, and I think they should scare anybody that is concerned about, yeah, just the way marketing and products and the way people communicate are all being influenced by these technologies and how they're being abused, like already and will be, no doubt.
but yeah,
And you can talk about that regulation, but I mean, I'm pretty pessimistic about that stuff too, because like so many other things, yeah, when money's on the line, people are gonna protect their interests. But how easy is it going to be when you're such a big, powerful corporation to like influence the public and influence politicians to get what you want, or to favor you and like, yeah, punish those other guys over there, but my company gets to do what we want, right? Yeah, so much potential for that.
so yeah, like you said before, it's one of those things where it's offbeat, it's weird. So, um, and
Yeah,
with Metal Gear, it's one of those things where a lot of the voice, like the VOs and the people who worked on that game, were really close to Kojima, and I understand a paycheck is a paycheck is a paycheck, but
mm-hmm.
also, it's gonna be really hard doing like getting the original cast back together for that stuff. Also, trying to, if they do use AI for that sort of thing, making it sound really good. Because like I said, they used AI for Darth Vader in the one of the Star Wars films. Was it? I think
Yeah,
it
I
was.
should have known. I should have known that because in Rogue One, he sounded like his voice was like raspier. He sounded like older, and then all of a
I
sudden
think
his
that
voice
was
sounded
still
quote
James Earl
unquote
Jones.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, and
then
then
suddenly
like,
in Obi-Wan, it's like, oh, now it just sounds like the movies again.
but once again,
Like,
with good AI and good technology, you can make that sound good. And like I said, with the new Indiana Jones, I just saw what they were doing with Harrison Ford, and holy shit!
I swear,
Like
every
with
time you say AI, it hangs for a second. So it's like AI.
oh,
It's like
oops, sorry.
you're saying it in a robot voice.
Well, maybe
AI.
it's trying to like stop me from revealing the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Open
uh,
the pod bay doors, Hal.
they were showing the difference between him at like his age and what he looked like 30, 40 years ago. Um, even a little more than that now, actually. Like back in the 70s and 80s, and just slapping it on him while he was talking, and like, wow.
Yeah.
Because they are combining the two, what they did with what's his name for Tarkin? What was his name? I can't.
Oh, Peter Cushing.
Yeah, so what they did with
Yeah.
Peter Cushing, and then a little bit with what they're doing with deep fakes and stuff now. So they're
They
doing a
did
little bit of
Carrie
both.
Fisher in Rogue One also. And the thing
Yeah,
with
but that was
the
all
thing with Peter
CGI.
Cushing is,
That was rebuilding. So like now they're doing
oh,
that
okay.
plus like they're doing I think it's a face mask feature, which what they'll do is they'll take an actor, like just some guy, and
Well, they did
they'll
that in
have them
episode
act.
one, so they already had a primitive version of it back then too.
Yeah, and then
But
what they will do is they will take facial structure and photos, and for the deepfake process, they'll grab just images from Harrison Ford back in the day from their
yeah.
movies, and they will take shot by shot, angle by angle, and then they will manually slap them on to the current movie, and then have the
Well,
deep learning stuff do the rest. It will
mhm,
smooth everything out. It will align to his face, almost like because there are programs that we use now that do that you can just download. You just you have to have a good GPU to do it. But it will over a period of time. What you do is you just grab the face, the multiple angles and everything, and then you combine the two. So you take the person you want to deepfake, and then you grab the images that you're using, and then
yeah.
you combine them. And over time, it takes a long time, but it does it frame by frame, over and
Oh,
over again. So it will
oh yeah.
do one pass, it'll do another pass, and eventually it will start to smooth itself out, and the AI will realize that this isn't completely right. We need to go over it again. So Control Shift
Well,
Face is a good channel to look that up because he shows the process of how it's done.
what's
So
interesting about all this though is that it's still assuming that there's an original thing. Like there's a Harrison Ford that we care about enough that we presumably want to see him in other stuff, and he can't do it anymore, or he didn't want to do it, or he's deceased, or whatever.
Well, he's also too like, he's also getting to the point where I feel like he's getting too old. Like the guy is like
Yeah.
super old.
Well, if
And
you look back, this is way back before AI, but you had, I want to say, like Jimmy Stewart. Tell me if this is wrong, if you've ever heard this. Like when he was towards the end of his life, he was sick. He couldn't sign autographs, so he had a machine that would just sign autographs for him. Like
Oh.
it just took one of his signatures and it would just repeat it. Like it was an auto pen. And he wasn't the only person that did this. Like lots of people did it, like famous people. And it's like it
I
was
feel
kind of
like
this
that
weird
loses
gray area
value.
where it's like, yeah, but this weird gray area where it's like, he approved it, but it's kind of like,
That's not his signature then.
the estate of Peter Cushing saying, yeah, go ahead, use this likeness. But yeah, it's like, so then yeah, you have laws that then apply to it. It's like, okay, but it's a new frontier of stuff.
And we're going into many new frontiers between that, like grabbing likeness of dead people and like using them in movies, and
yeah,
deep faking and AI and stuff. It's a big thing. But
yeah, it's not just some celebrity pretending to be that person for a commercial or something. It's like, yeah, it's actual footage of them and their actual voice modified to represent something that they never would have done or wanted.
like the next Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Hey, good on you, Harrison Ford, if you want to do that. If that's what makes you happy in the last years of your life, slap on that diaper and go do it.
Dial in that destiny.
Nobody will be Indy but me. I'll do it.
And my AI.
Yeah. Go get the diaper. I need it. I'm about to swing over this bridge.
Listen, we might need diapers if we make it to that age, but
it was a movie.
She was my wife.
Where's my wife?
I didn't kill my wife. Get off my plane.
Harrison, you're not on a plane. You're at the set. Get off my plane now. Where's my hat? You son of a bitch. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to conclude it for this night's Rantcast, because
doing a lot of half-baked impressions. Like, do you want us doing the impressions, or do you want the AI doing the impressions? Think hard and don't say your answer out loud.
I am like, I was halfway out the door coming into the Rantcast because I have been worked half to death. So I knew my segment wasn't going to be long, but I wanted to make sure we got the HeroQuest Power Hour done. And oh my God,
great.
If I do any more talking about this stuff, it will last longer than the hour I'm allotted. So I want to make sure that Kurgan gets to bed on time, because that's
Thanks.
Yeah, if I keep you any longer, it's gonna be bad. You're gonna be like, what? Oh yeah, deep learning. Yep.
Deep learning.
Deep sleep.
The more you know.
Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna try to do this every week. If I can't, I'll try. I'm gonna attempt to keep people informed, including Kurgan, because like I said, I did not expect to be working past my allotted time today.
Stuff happens.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we still do this for fun. I mean, we're trying to be informative. We're trying to engage people, but yeah, stuff happens in life, and yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, no stream. I know I was doing Mass Effect here. No stream for me tomorrow. If I can help it. If I do have one, I'll let people know on Twitter. The night or the time of. It's gonna be kind of a spontaneous thing. So they'll be posted on Twitter that I won't be having a stream unless things change. Friday and Saturday are not going to be there because I'm just going to be filling out paperwork for my job and getting things arranged for travel come June, because I'm going to be out of state. So that'll be my life for a little while, traveling.
Well.
But
Yep. Well, we'll play it by ear for sure. I certainly enjoy these, and sometimes you just have to make adjustments, so it's cool.
indeed.
I won't be doing my stream Saturday because of family events, so that's cool. Take a little break, but when we come back, it'll be fun.
Recharge the
Yeah.
batteries.
Yeah, for sure.
Be good to
Yep.
take a small break. I'm probably gonna use this time to, because I'm not gonna have no time at all. But I think from now on, if I don't have the set schedule put in, I'm probably not gonna stream, or I'm probably gonna let people know when the stream's happening. Like I said, with my job and everything coming up, it's probably gonna be one of those things that trying to pull a stream off at 11, 12 a.m. right on, and then trying to run for 3-4 hours, unless I'm on a weekend, it's not happening. Just my body is not built for it anymore.
We're hobby streamers. I mean, it'd be one thing if this was like your full-time job, and we'd be on here like slinging merch and like begging for money, and it's a whole different game if you're doing that hustle.
I'm on a t-shirt. Actually, I do have t-shirts.
Oh.
Yeah, I do have merch.
Hey.
It's just not posted up anymore.
Yeah. It would be nice to have HeroQuest fans merch, but I got to be real careful because it is a franchise and stuff, so it's got to be.
So what can you put on your t-shirts?
Yeah.
Can you put like dice or something, and put like HQF on there without the logo?
I don't
you can't
think
use the
we can-
font, can you? Can you put HeroQuest fans on there though?
I'm still researching that about like what exactly we can do.
You talked to Ann Carmine, right? Would he know, or know somebody that would know?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, talk to him and then get back with me. Maybe I can help you with that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Because I've got
Yeah,
the fonts and sizes for t-shirt merch.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a merch shop, but I mean it doesn't have anything in it because I started to work on it and then I'm like, oh, we could really get in trouble if we tried to
Yeah, can't go
make
slinging
like
HeroQuest
bootleg shirt.
icons around.
Yeah.
You scalping.
Yeah. There's people that sell stuff like that, but it's like, okay, how long is that stuff gonna go under the radar
HeroQuest with 2 Qs.
Oh, like in wrestling where they just like change the it's like phonetically the same, but it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Hulkster. He's back. Yeah.
Got green
All
hair
right.
instead of blonde hair.
Rantcast.
Yeah, anyway,
All right,
we'll
man.
be back
Well,
back next week
check
unless
this out.
things change. So thanks for everybody for watching. And if you've got friends or anybody who wants to join the podcast or has any interest in this, please let them know. And for any new viewers, think about following us here at the Rantcast Podcast. I am Josh, also known as The Strange Bus. You can follow me there at twitch.tv/The Strange Bus. I am joined once again here. That is my host, my other host here. That is Kurgan, also known as HeroQuest Fans. And you can follow him where?
Twitch.tv/HeroQuest fans.
That's
HeroQuest fans Discord also.
Boom.
Yep.
Bibbidi bobbidi boom. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll catch you next time on the Rantcast.
Yep. Rantcast.
Rantcast.
Yeah.